Have you felt a change in the marketplace? I'm curious because the headline for this is going to be breaking news. The real estate market has exploded at the beginning of January 2024. There really shouldn't be any surprise here. If you are following along with these updates, that is a whole entire reason we make these, is so you can stay as informed as possible. And one of the things that is most amazing to me is that I see so many, especially real estate agents, that are shocked and surprised at how aggressively the market went from December really slow to January 1st and exploding. We see this because we talk to a ton of consumers just like yourself, but we also have a lot of people on our website. We generate a lot of inquiries on those websites. We have a lot of people that send us other inquiries as well too, and the numbers have dramatically increased. So this is no surprise at all. But let me first introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, my name is Christian Stubbs. I'm team leader and founder here at Onyx Homes, and this is our weekly newsletter update. So let me kind of dive right in. I've got three major bullet points, and then we'll talk about a little bit for buyers, a little bit for sellers, and just a little quick thing at the end for people who are looking to do both. So the first thing that I'm going to say is when I'm talking about buyers or when I'm talking about sellers, the reality is I'm talking about the market. Yes, I'm talking directly to a buyer when I'm talking about a buyer, but sellers, make sure you're listening, because the advice that I'm giving to a buyer is almost the exact opposite of the advice that I'm giving to a seller, right? So just make sure we're paying attention. I'm not saying that I'm telling a buyer to do one thing and a seller to do another. The buyers are taking advantage of things that sellers do poorly and vice versa. So let's dive right in. I've got 3 points. I got my notes down here, but the first one is that listings that have been sitting on the market, this is kind of going back to the breaking news headline, is that listings that have been sitting on the market are now receiving multiple offers. Not all of them. If they look good and are priced right, those are the ones that might have been on the market for all of November and December, and then come January first, second week, we're getting multiple offers on these properties. I shouldn't say we are. We don't have very many listings that just sit because of price, but there are a lot of listings that maybe didn't look that great or were just a little overpriced, and those properties are getting more activity. So the number one thing here is it's really interesting to see, or it's very clear, I should say, to see which listings are looking good and priced right now. If something's not getting activity right now, if you have your home listed right now, you are likely overpriced or your marketing is way off if you're not getting more activity now than 2 weeks ago. All right, that's the first bullet point right here. Second bullet point is that properties that do look good and are priced right are getting a lot of offers. And I'm talking upwards of 20 offers on some properties that are in very highly desirable areas or in really aggressive price points. Specifically, that 750 to $1 million price point is really, really aggressive right now. So here's my point. This is not to scare you as a buyer or to get you crazy over the moon as a seller, think you're gonna get way above your number. My point is the offers that we're getting now, the 20 offers, buyers a lot of the times are educated, and it's very clear to see the ones that were shopping 2 years ago, or at least are getting advice from an agent that knows how to navigate that competitive market. But there are a ton that seem like that they have either had their heads in the sand or are still thinking that this is a really slow market where they're not expecting 20 offers or 10 offers or even 5. So they're writing really unaggressive offers like you could have got away with in the winter, and now that's changed. So we're getting a lot of offers, but I will say a lot of the times we're not going way above list price on these homes that look good and are priced right. If you were in the market or listening to these updates 2020, 2021, especially, you were hearing hundreds of thousands of dollars or $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 over list price on almost all properties. And list price was almost irrelevant back then. And that's not what we're seeing right now. We are seeing a very competitive market, but a very realistic market, which is extremely healthy. This is to be expected with all the pent up demand that we've had. So that's the second bullet point. The third thing is the listings that are not looking good and are not priced right. Those are the listings that are still sitting. These are not getting multiple offers. If they are getting offers, they're significantly below market value, and they're just not getting anywhere near the traction that they would if they looked good and are priced right, or at least one of the two. All right, so those are my 3 bullet points. Let me scroll down here on my notes. So let me talk about specifically for sellers. I've got a little segment for you. Next, I'll talk to buyers, and I'll talk to the people that are doing both at the very end. So getting the most out of your home is absolutely crucial. And let me share with you a story. This is a very real life example. I won't give too many details because I think you'll see why in a few minutes. But this is a very real life example of a house that was listed on the market in the slower market. So this was on the market for 3 or 4 months, and it had terrible pictures taken with a worse than iPhone pictures, let's just say. Sideways, thumb in the picture. You know what I'm talking about. We've all seen those listings. And the description wasn't great. It wasn't filled out very much. And it was priced actually, frankly, below where it probably should have been. But what happens here is so many people are not looking at the property in person person because the pictures are so bad. This is a property that has a beautiful view, that has a nice yard, that has nice upgrades, and none of this was shown very well, at least in the listing. So this property ended up selling for 1.55. Nice property in South Orange County. I don't want to be too specific, but if this house were to be relisted today, I should say if our company relisted this property the way that we list properties, with incredible photography, with the most expensive photographer we can find, beautiful videography with an agent spotlight, a full decked out digital presence with all the descriptions, all the MLS filled out, all the different things that we know drive eyeballs to the property. Eyeballs drive people looking at the property in person and private tours to really sell the property. So anyway, if we were to sell this, we would list this property for $1.9 million. Now, I'm not saying that because there's been a $400,000 increase or $450,000 increase in prices. I'm saying this strictly because that's what the home's worth. Was it worth that 30 days ago, 40 days ago when it sold last? Yeah, pretty close to it at least. So the moral of the story here is, regardless of the market, whether it's the winter, the summer, the whatever it is, whenever you're listing your property, who you have representing the property absolutely matters. It matters more than it's mattered ever, at least in a very, very long time. Marketing has dramatically changed from even 5 years ago, but 10, 15, 20 years ago, if your agent is still using the same tactics they did 20, 30 years ago and not adding in everything else that's required right now, huge thing. So the decision on the agent that this person chose to represent this property cost them probably $200,000 or $300,000 at least, if not closer to $450,000. Again, this is just my opinion, what I think it would sell for. Obviously, it's not going on the market, so I can't be proven right or wrong, but this is my personal opinion. We sell a lot of properties, so I feel like we know this pretty well. That's the moral of the story. Does not matter about the market. Who you hire always matters. All right, buyers, I hope you were listening to that as well too, is someone took advantage of this market and they stole a great house. They bought this for hundreds of thousands of dollars below market value, and they were even able to get a discount on a price that was lower than it should have been. So here's your takeaways as a buyer. And sellers, keep your ears wide open for this. Is buyers, for the house that looks ugly online, go see it. Stop thinking, what's wrong with it? It's been on the market for longer than normal. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. Just take that out of your mind, especially in this kind of a market now. Get that out of your mind and go look at the property. If it looks terrible online, there is a pretty good chance, maybe a 50% chance, that it's gonna look way better in person. And in the event where you happen to be the buyer that does go and look at the property that looked ugly online, and it's a great house, you write an offer and you get a screaming deal. That's what happens here. So that's my number one piece of advice, is when you see something online that you're like, what is wrong with that house? Probably nothing, but go look at it and find out what's wrong with it. And if it's nothing, maybe it's just a good deal. And buyers can do this by putting themselves in the best possible position. So number one is just go look at it. Call your agent, call us, go to SoCalHomesForSale.com, scroll and look for the ugliest houses you can and ask to schedule a tour. We would love to show you that property and find out also if it's a great deal or if it really is just not the best listing. That's my first point. My next point is get yourself financially prepared. So let's just say you absolutely found this screaming deal, right? You found this property that was 50% below market value or 30%, whatever it is, and you were not ready to go. And somebody else saw it also. They had the exact same idea you did, but they were ready to go and they were able to put an offer together. Maybe not today, but maybe within a couple of days, they were able to put everything together and they beat you to the deal. This is something we unfortunately see rather common, is buyers will be waiting for such a long time for that perfect opportunity to arise. And then when it does, they're not ready to go. And unfortunately, it's a saying that us as real estate agents have to say, is sometimes if a client doesn't listen to our advice from agents that know what they're doing in the marketplace, sometimes they just have to kind of learn the hard way and then they might realize it. So that's something that would happen, it frankly happens all the time, is just because we didn't want to take that extra step, we didn't want to run our credit, we didn't want to do all these things, is you can miss an opportunity. That doesn't always happen, but it certainly can. Now, you also have the ability to go and look at your online mortgage calculator. We have one on our website. I'll link it down below. Works fantastic, gives you a really good idea of where you're at, but it's not being ready, right? It's giving you a good idea. It's a really good starting line if you're trying to figure out what you qualify for. That's my other point, is getting yourself financially ready to go. Another thing is simply keeping your eye on the market. So having your home search set up on whatever website you want to look on, but we have SoCalHomesForSale.com. That is our website that we've built just for you. We do not sell your information like all the other websites do. So if you go on there and you're plugging your information in, you're making an account, that is not going to anybody else than an Onyx agent, so that we can best help you. Now, if you set up your custom search, you're going to be able to see what's on the market. You're also going to be able to see that if you favorite it, there's a little heart button on there. Click that favorite button and you'll get updates. So even if you're not looking to buy anytime soon, I'd go on there, I do this, and favorite the houses. And then when it sells or when it gets a price drop, you get notified. This is a super easy way, really passive way to keep a pulse on the market, so that maybe you do see that house that's a scream deal and you can jump jump on it. And if you at least have pre-approval within the last year, if you're thinking about moving, at least you have most of this stuff ready to go. Maybe you have to update bank statements, pay stubs, tax returns, whatever, but it's not starting from scratch, okay? Next thing is I recommend talking to your agent. Obviously, I might be a little bit biased because I am an agent, but I can tell you from my position is I hear a lot that my clients don't want to waste my time by getting me involved too soon. Maybe they're not too serious. They think they might want to move and they say that, hey, Christian, we don't want to bother you. I love being bothered by my clients. That is my entire job. And that's why I make so much of this content to just give to my clients and people who will never do business with me for free, is I just like to give you guys as much information as possible. Now, in return, when you get your agent involved ahead of time, we can do so much more for you. We can get you off-market properties the entire time you're not looking. We can do all kinds of other things, and I'll talk a little bit more about that with sellers as well too. But all of these things are extremely important in getting you ready to go ahead of time, because the last thing I like is, hey, Christian, I saw a house. I really want to talk about writing an offer, and we have to educate on the market. We have to go through comparables. We have to get financial pre-approved. We have to go through a strategy session to go through the new contracts, all these different things, when we could have done that way ahead of time. That way, when you find the property, really the only question we want our clients thinking about is this the right house for either our investment or our family, whatever it might be. So that's my advice to buyers. There's a lot in there. Sellers, again, I hope you're listening along because it's a lot of the same stuff. Getting your house ready on the market ahead of time, talking about the potential repairs that you can make, all those different things. And then if you're buying and selling, I don't want to make this too long, you are likely a buyer before you're a seller. That is one of the #1 things a lot of agents don't understand, is you probably aren't gonna move unless you know where you're moving to, what you're gonna buy, what you can qualify for. That conversation should and can start way ahead of time. So figuring out what your home's value is, minus your equity, if you're gonna roll that into the new property, there's so many different variables. My advice, just let us know what you're thinking, and we can put together a few different options and different game plans. Also, there's a huge program that I definitely think you should consider if you are in the buying and selling at the same time situation. This is a buy before you sell program. It is just like it sounds. You can buy before you sell. So what this means is you can take the equity from your current home and go buy your next home. That's after you and your property have been approved for the program, right? So you and your property get approved for the program, you take your equity and you buy your next home. Here's the magic part. You move into that new home. Your old home is vacant. So from the safety and for the comfort of your new property, we are gonna list your older home. Now we can do some renovations, we can stage it, we can paint it, we can do whatever needs to be done, if anything, so we can sell that house for as much money as possible. You're not in the property, so you don't have to worry about getting out of the way for showings and all that stuff. And a vacant house that has those little touch-ups is gonna sell for more money. So on the front side, meaning on the buy side, you're buying non-contingent, so you do not have to worry about that. And on the back side, you're selling a property that you don't live in, that you did some renovations, little upgrades to make it sell for as much money as possible. So you're gonna be able to get a higher selling price on that. Super hassle-free I shouldn't say hassle-free or risk-free, but it is way less stressful to go through this route than the traditional route. Just another option we wanna make sure that our clients have. All right, lots of information in here. I think I hit everything, but if you wanna talk about your unique situation, as always, you can reach out to us. Go to our website, socalhomesforsale.com. You can also find us on our channel. There's a link to talk to one of our local experts, or you can reach out however you found us. So my name is Christian Stubbs. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.